The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. Waterworld is owned by Universal Pictures, Gordon Company, Davis Entertainment, Lynchett Muller Film Corporation, Kevin Reynolds, and Kevin Costner. Please support the official release and streaming services. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another review. You know, a lot of people have been asking me to take a look at the recent summer blockbuster hit, Mad Max Fury Road. Being considered one of the greatest action films in the past few decades, this film is a sequel to the previous Mad Max films about a post-apocalyptic world where, wait a minute, that's not footage from Mad Max Fury Road, that's from the film Waterworld, one of my all-time personal favorite films. Well, considering they showed the footage and it's the 20th anniversary this year, I might as well take a look at one of the most unappreciated movies of all time. So, released in 1995, this is the very unappreciated, underrated classic, Waterworld. So the story of Waterworld is very much like Mad Max, but instead of a nuclear fallout destroying the world, it's actually the polar ice caps that have melted and caused the Earth to be flooded with water, leaving no trace of land behind. In doing so, the human survivors have created floating cities, boats that they can sail all around the world, and even weapons to battle the evil group of terrorists known as the Smokers, led by Dennis Hopper. But then comes along the hero of the movie, played by Kevin Costner, who turns out is a human-fish hybrid, also known as a mutant.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Nope, not that kind of mutant. Sorry, Marvel. Nice try slipping this into the cinematic universe.
Go fuck yourself.
Where unfortunately, many of the human survivors treat mutants as abominations of nature. But Kevin Costner finds out about this little girl who apparently has a map to the legendary world known as Dryland. Taking her and a girl named Helen on board his boat, they go on many adventures in order to find Dryland and defeat the evil Smokers. So, what are my thoughts on a film that's been a staple of the mid-90s? Well, here's a question I like to ask. Why do people hate this movie? I mean, honestly, why do people hate it? It's actually an amazing movie! In my opinion, this is one of the greatest action-adventure films of all time. In fact, it's made by Universal, my all-time favorite film studio, bringing out some of my all-time favorite films. So therefore, Waterworld is one of my favorite movies. I think one of the reasons a lot of people hate this film is because it was one of the most expensive films at the time, with a total of almost $200 million, and bombed at the box office. And on top of that, a lot of popular internet critics are tearing this movie apart.
She's in a place called Waterworld, and she can't swim? Isn't that kind of like being in the Antarctic and not knowing how to put on a coat?
And therefore, the majority of the public seem to hate what other people hate. And honestly, it's extremely unfair. I mean, it's an action-adventure movie set in a world filled with water. What else do you want from it? The meaning of life? I really feel this is one of Universal's best movies. It's got great action, great characters, great cinematography, and a pretty fun villain. Kevin Costner, in my opinion, is actually a really unappreciated actor. Don't get me wrong, he could pull out a few bad performances like in Man of Steel. But back in the 90s, he was a pretty good action hero. Not only being the Mariner in this film, but also Robin Hood. And on top of that, he's actually a pretty cool badass in this movie. I mean, he's a human that's able to breathe underwater. How cool is that? And on top of that, he has an amazing boat with all these cool little gadgets and stuff that are actually really cool to look at. But one of the best things about his character is that he's a loner. He doesn't really tag around with anybody and doesn't really have any friends. And that makes him kind of tragic. But when he kicks ass, he kicks fucking ass. But on top of that, there's a lot of other human characters. You've got the female lead, Helen, who's actually a pretty cool character on her own terms. You got the little girl, which, I'll be honest, is an okay actress. You've got the scientist guy with the cool balloon that actually helps the heroes at the end of the movie. And then, of course, there's the villains. The villains are actually pretty badass in this movie. Almost with the steampunk style, but honestly act like the Foot Clan in the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. But by far, one of the best things about this movie is Dennis Hopper as the villain. He literally owns this part. You can tell from every scene that he's in, he's having a blast. Same can be said when he was playing King Koopa in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I think he's honestly one of the most unappreciated villains of all time. He can be cocky and he can be funny, but there's also a real sense of threat to him. You can actually tell when not to fuck around with them. But aside from the characters, what else is there to enjoy in this movie? Well, one of the best things about this film is actually the action scenes. Seriously, a lot of these stunt guys did a lot of the work themselves, and this was all out in the ocean. And I know a lot of people do say it's more like a stunt show, but honestly, this is some of the best stunt work I've ever seen in any movie. As a side note, let's quickly talk about the stunt show at Universal Studios Hollywood. This show, a lot of people actually say is better than the actual movie, and to be honest, yeah, I can kinda see that. But what's interesting is that it's actually a sequel to the movie, taking place almost a few hours after the first one. But again, the action and the stunt work are truly superb in this show. And come on, who didn't like that whole plane launching in front of the audience and everybody getting soaked? Another thing I really love about this film is the cinematography. This is honestly one of the most beautifully shot films I've ever seen. I know a lot of stuff in the film has a bit of CG in it, and yeah, it can seem a little outdated, but a lot of those sets and a lot of those boats were done for real, and on the actual ocean. And this gives the film a real naturalistic look. In fact, the design of the film is actually pretty cool. Yeah, I know it's a ripoff of Mad Max, but come on, it's actually kind of cool to see everyday items turned into new things to make them even better. But honestly, by far, the best thing about this movie is the soundtrack. My god, this soundtrack is a sheer masterpiece. Conducted by one of my all-time favorite composers, James Newton Howard. In fact, this guy was actually hired at the last minute to do the score. And not only is this his best score to date, but it's actually my all-time personal favorite score. Yeah, it beats the Star Wars score. It beats the Lord of the Rings score. In fact, it beats the King Kong score by far. It seriously has everything an action movie soundtrack should have. I mean, just listen to this hero theme. It's pure awesomeness. I mean, come on, wouldn't you want to go into an action movie with that theme in your head? And then you have the villain's theme, which is actually pretty chilling and powerful. But I will say this, the best piece of music in this score, and one of my all-time favorite pieces of music, is the track called Swimming. This piece of music is actually played when Kevin Costner's character is actually starting to feel sympathy and actually care for the two girls he's taking care of. This is seriously one of the most beautiful pieces of music I have ever heard in my life. And not only that, it's almost a great romantic theme. It's one of those pieces of music that you stick headphones on, you lay down, or sit in meditation and just relax. Simply breathtaking. But enough of me praising the film. As usual, what are the cons? Well, I will say this about most Universal movies. It feels a little too long. And I know that's one of the things the critics really complain about. And yeah, I kind of agree. It could use a little trimming. In fact, there's actually an extended cut and it's even longer. I was actually having some hard times even sitting through the 2-hour cut. And another one of the big problems with the film was a lot of the gossip and the press about the film. Apparently Costner and the director had a lot of issues on set, and it took forever to finish filming. And you can kind of see that on screen when Costner is acting. There's some scenes where he doesn't even know what to do in the scene. But honestly, does the budget really affect the film? Well, no. The budget for this film actually makes things so much bigger and so much larger than a lot of movies I've seen. It really is a shame that the film bombed when it did. So my final thought on the film, Waterworld is one of the most unappreciated movies of all time. It's seriously one of Universal's best pictures. It has great action, great characters, amazing cinematography, and of course, an amazing soundtrack. Like I said in my Lost World review, forget what the critics say about the film, go rent it off Netflix or buy it on DVD, stick it on your biggest screen with the biggest sound system you got, and enjoy a pretty good action movie. One of the most unappreciated films of all time, and in my opinion, is one of my favorite films of all time. A solid 9 out of 10. Totally worth a second chance. Well, there's my review of Waterworld, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and took a second look. But I would like to know your thoughts on the film, so leave me a comment section if you think this is also an unappreciated gem. And if you would like to see other film reviews, click that subscribe button and take a look at my previous reviews. Until then, this is BigJackFilms, signing off.